Hi everyone and welcome to the Mojo Killer. For those of you who are not familiar with the case of Trenny Gibson, on October the 8th, 1976, 16-year-old Trenny Gibson vanished without a trace in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. She left behind a mystery that has tormented her family, friends, and investigators for nearly half a century. It was supposed to be an ordinary school field trip, a day of adventure and learning amongst the golden hue of autumn. But by evening that day, Trenny was gone, and no one could explain how or why. Her disappearance is one of the most chilling and perplexing missing persons cases in American history. Despite the passage of time, despite desperate searches and countless theories, there has never been a single clue to explain what happened to her. Did she get lost in the wilderness that day? Was she abducted? Did someone in her own group know more than they were willing to say? These questions still haunt those who remember her story. Trenny was a junior at Bearden High School in Knoxville, Tennessee. A quiet yet determined girl, she was known for her strong work ethic, love of animals, and her artistic talent. She was neither overly outgoing nor particularly shy, just an ordinary teenager with hopes and dreams. She was close with her family, especially her mother, Hope Gibson, who adored her and would never stop searching for answers. That Friday, Trenny joined 39 of her classmates on a field trip to Clingman's Dome. Clingman's Dome is the highest peak in the Great Smoky Mountains. Their teacher, Mr. Wayne Dunlap, had planned the hike along the Andrews Bald Trail as part of a nature study. It was a crisp, cool autumn day, the scent of fallen leaves mingling with the mountain air. The students were expected to observe their surroundings and take notes on the plant life as they hiked. Trenny was wearing jeans, a blouse, a blue and white striped sweater, as well as a borrowed brown jacket from one of her classmates, Robert Simpson. Like most teenagers, she had no reason to think this day would be any different from any other school outing. There were no warning signs, no ominous feelings, just the anticipation of a day spent outside away from the classroom. The students hiked at their own pace, some breaking into small groups, others lagging behind. Trenny was seen moving between different clusters of classmates. Sometimes she was walking alone, sometimes she was chatting. She was observed admiring the changing foliage, occasionally pausing to take in the beautiful views. At some point along the trail, Trenny was last seen walking ahead of her classmates near a bend in the path. One moment she was there, her figure blending into the shadows of the tree. The next, she was gone. There was no scream, no rustling of leaves, no signs of a struggle. She had simply disappeared. When her classmates reached the spot where she had last been seen, there was nothing unusual. The ground was undisturbed, and the thick forest was silent. At first there was no alarm. Perhaps she had taken a wrong turn or stepped off the path for a moment. But as minutes stretched into an hour, and there was still no sign of her, Panic set in. Mr. Dunlap quickly organized a search, instructing students to call out her name and check along the trail. They fanned out, peeping into the dense woods, but Trenny was nowhere to be found. There were no tracks, no discarded belongings, nothing to suggest where she had gone. By the time the group returned to the bus, the reality had sunk in. Something was terribly wrong. As night fell over the Smokies, the air grew cold, the temperature dropped rapidly, and the darkness made searching nearly impossible. Rangers and volunteers flooded the park, combing the rugged terrain with flashlights and search dogs. Days turned into weeks, and yet no evidence, no clothing, no footprints, no signs of a struggle was ever found. Rumors swirled. Some speculated that Trenny had fallen off the steep embankment, her body hidden in the dense underbrush. Others believed she had been abducted. A few classmates recalled seeing an unknown man lurking along the trail that day, while others whispered that Trenny had been followed. Her family was shattered. Her mother, Hope Gibson, clung desperately to the idea that her daughter was alive somewhere. For years, she refused to change Trenny's bedroom, keeping it exactly as on the day she left. Her father, Robert Gibson, searched tirelessly, making countless trips to the mountains, hoping for a clue. Despite extensive investigations by local law enforcement, the FBI, and the National Park Services, no conclusive evidence ever surfaced. How could a teenage girl vanish in the middle of a crowded national park without anyone seeing anything? Some believe she might have been abducted and taken out of the park by a car, perhaps by someone she knew. Others think she wandered off the trail and succumbed to the elements. One of the most chilling aspects of Trenny's disappearance is the sheer number of possibilities. The Smoky Mountains are vast and unforgiving. If she had wandered off the trail and fallen, her body might have been hidden by thick undergrowth or washed away by rain and streams. But there were also eerie details that couldn't be ignored. Some students claimed they had seen Trenny talking to someone shortly before she disappeared. Others reported seeing a stranger watching their group from the woods. A few even said they thought they had heard rustling or footsteps following them along the trail. Could it have been a planned abduction? Did someone lure her off the path? Or was it a tragic accident, her body lost forever in the wilderness? Trenny's disappearance left a void that could never be filled. Her mother, Hope Gibson, spent the rest of her life searching for answers, never giving up hope that her daughter was out there somewhere. Her father, Robert Gibson, became obsessed with finding the truth, haunted by the idea that someone had taken his daughter and gotten away with it. Her siblings grew up in the shadow of the mystery, their lives forever altered by the absence of their sister. Even today, decades later, her case remains open, her face still appearing on missing persons posters and cold case lists. The Great Smoky Mountains hold their secrets very well. Trenny Gibson's fate remains one of the most chilling, unsolved mysteries in American history. People still hike the trail where she vanished, wondering what happened to her that day. Some believe she was taken by a stranger lurking in the woods. Others think she got lost, wandered off too far, and succumbed to the elements. But with no body, no evidence, and no eyewitnesses who saw what truly happened, the truth may never be known. Somewhere perhaps Trenny's spirit still lingers in those quiet woods, waiting for the day when someone finally discovers what happened to her that day. What do you think happened to her that day? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on what you think could have happened. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.